How do you think the students are going with this type of learning?
I think there's a mixed result. I think there are some students that are really excelling, and then some that aren't quite into it. It'd be nice if those high excelling students could actually drag the people that aren't joining in into the hackathon.
What do you think this type of learning is valuable?
Why do I think it's valuable? I think it's valuable because it's going to transfer across into later in life. It's the way everything's leading to, and we're going obviously more in the design process. Being a T&E teacher, we're already doing this, and it's being developed into everything else, including STEM and mainstream subjects.
What kind of transferable skills will the students be developing through the hackathon, do you think?
The biggest one that I've seen so far is the group work. The group work in my room's great. It's definitely a skill that needs to be learned, and it's students that are working with other students that they don't normally work with. So that's going to be in the workforce, that's going to be in everyday life from now on, and it's great that they get to do that, just not with their friends.
Have you heard any really innovative ideas?
Yes, my three groups, we've got two that are focusing on library. One's gone into a 3-story library, which is absolutely amazing, capturing the 18 to 30-year-old range. And then my other group is looking at the traffic and the car parking around the library and how they can change that. And the last group is looking at the main street and how they can transform that to make it safer and make more people want to come to that area or that hub.
How do you think the students are going with this type of learning?
I think they're going very well. Students are actively engaged in conversations, and I think that's a really, really good learning process for them to share ideas and offer their gifts, and then working collaboratively together.
Why do you think this type of learning is valuable?
I think it is valuable for students to have something that's more tangible rather than just sitting in the classroom absorbing from textbooks. This gives them opportunity to go out into society and to see what are the problems out there, and then bring that problems back into the team, and then they brainstorm solutions to perhaps to solve the problem.
What kind of transferable skills will the students develop through the hackathon?
I think it's important to bring communicating with other people, and that enable them to acquire their communication skills and recognize their own gifts, because students discover they can be leaders as well, and that could be valuable in their workforce in the future.
Have you heard any innovative ideas?
Oh, definitely. There's some brilliant ideas out there, and I think this is a great opportunity, a platform for students to come together to actually offer their ideas. And I think if the students put the mind and effort to it, I think they will have a really, really awesome outcome from this.
How do you think the students are going with this type of learning?
I'm getting some fairly varied responses, because I think some of the students have grasped this really well and they're running with it, and that's some of the students of a whole range of different ability levels. Some of those that are the top students are doing really well. Some of those are also not quite as challenged as others. Some of the weaker students are certainly working very well, and they've taken that as a build. So generally, most people are pretty positive. There are a few students that are finding the usual challenges they find on a daily basis.
Why do you think this type of learning is valuable?
I think this type of learning is valuable because we've set the bar pretty high, and we've tried to make this task a high-level task and a lot of students are having to rise up to that level. And for the students in the school that want to work at a high level, it's a really good opportunity for them to maintain that standard. And for those who are normally challenged, it's a good chance for them to try and move up towards that level.
What kind of transferable skills will the students be developing through the hackathon?
The ability for them to question their own ideas, and normally what happens is the person has a really good idea and they think that that's the best idea they've ever had. This forces them to actually think of other ideas and to reassess that each time, and that's a good thing because it stops people just thinking the instant thing they've got in their head is the world's best idea. It's getting them to actually realise that they might not have the best idea at the first instance, and it encourages them to go and get other resources and other materials to try and make a better decision on what those answers are.
Have you heard of any innovative ideas?
Yeah, I was in a group a minute ago and they were talking about sticking a tunnel through Main Street and putting all the through traffic underneath the road, so the only people that wanted to use the traffic in that area were the locals who were going into the businesses to try and get some good things out of those things. So trying to get rid of all the through traffic into a different area, either underground or using other roads.
How do you think the students are going with this type of learning?
It's steady progress. I think it's brand new to a lot of them, so it's slowly getting there, but I think it's obviously starting to sink in, the fact of needing them to collaborate and actually work together, so not too bad at the moment.
Why do you think this type of learning is valuable?
Definitely one of the life skills and requirements of any job, to be able to work in teams, to be able to communicate with each other, to be able to collaborate. So obviously they're going to need it for the rest of their lives, so it's definitely important they start learning it at a young age.
What kind of transferable skills will the students develop through Hackathon?
As I said, being able to work with different members in a team, obviously getting along and working with people they may not be familiar with, and working obviously with brand new people. Be able to, as I said, work through different issues, any problems they're obviously coming across, and as I said, getting to that final solution, working together.
Have you heard any innovative ideas?
There's been some definitely out of the box thinking. Some may not be as practical as possible, but no, there's definitely some good things, and I think a lot of the students have taken ideas from other areas that they know work quite well, and starting to implement them in their project.
How do you think the students are going with this type of learning?
Yeah, good. I think it's new to them, but I think they're coming up with some really good ideas and solutions, and they've fully understood the challenges that go on within the community. So I think it's been good in that regard.
Why do you think this type of learning is valuable?
It's very valuable because it's more in line with what happens in the real world. Right? So we are in an industry, we use these sorts of types of project-based learning to come up with real solutions for the real world. So it's good for them to experience that, and also it allows them to think in a different way, in a different manner, to solve a problem that may occur at school or in their lives.
What kind of transferable skills will the students be developing through the hackathon?
I think the most important one they've been sort of learning would be collaboration skills. Right? So trying to work together, trying to look at sharing their workload and collaborating to come up with a solution. Other things is the way they've been communicating with each other. So trying to enforce that sort of positive communication, so constructive criticism rather than other methods of communication. Yeah.